Hi guys, welcome back to the Tactical Insight Show. I'm a very happy man today, and I'm sure Graham is too. How are you doing, Graham?
Very well, mate. Nice to see you again.
Love to see you.
Great weekend. Always a great weekend when Arsenal win and Spurs lose.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought after September, when we were almost like relegation fighters and United were title contenders, we'd be now level on points with Man United after their humiliating 5-0 defeat yesterday.
Football's a funny game.
It sets it up nicely for next week, doesn't it? That El Sacco, they're calling it now.
Okay, we can't take credit for that, but El Sacco is going round as Tottenham versus Man United, and we've been in stitches about it here. So, that'll be good.
Before we start, I just want to very quickly say thank you very much to all the people that come up to me at the Emirates last Friday night. Great Friday night under lights, fantastic performance we're going to go into today. And also praised not only me, but you, James, rightly you, for all the work you do as well. That actually enjoy the Tactical Insight Show. Many thanks to all those people who compliment us on the show. It means a lot to me. And very quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Pippa. I was very impressed with. She was part of that Sky Sports segment.
With Clive and James,
Yeah, it's fantastic. She was a credit to herself, her family, and to AFTV. So a big shout out to Pippa. I really enjoyed listening to her part of that segment.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree with you. Now, we've got a lot to get into today. Arsenal did put 3 past Aston Villa, a performance we weren't expecting on the back of that 2-2 draw with Palace. As always, we love the context. We love to look at what's been going on before. What was the feeling around this game going into it for you?
I think it felt like we got out of jail against Palace, but the good thing was we kept our unbeaten run going. And I think that's the thing. I think Arteta and the team took out the performance. And I think there was interesting going into this game because the contrasts with Mikel Arteta, because he was always under pressure going into this game, regardless of what you think. He was. And I think we've got some interesting stats here that just show the contrast. And the manager's lot, you can almost argue. This is his record going into the Aston Villa game, and it doesn't paint a pretty picture for me.
No.
It's almost like this was his 34th home game in the Premier League as manager of Arsenal, and in the previous 33, he's got a less than 50% win rate, 17 wins, 6 draws, 10 defeats, 52 goals, 35 against, goal difference plus 17, only 52 points out of 99. So, you know, not a great record going into his Villa game.
This is his Premier League record.
Premier League record,
Yeah.
not a great record going into his Villa game, James.
No, shocking. But what's so interesting about this, you showed me these stats. I think in the back of my mind, I kind of knew this was true. I hadn't seen the raw numbers till he showed me. But there's another graphic here we're going to bring up. That after the Spurs game, so this stat maybe has been going around for a couple of weeks now, but I had noted, I don't know how I didn't see this, that he was the second fastest to 50 wins.
He was, and
Talk us through this.
Yeah, this is in not in Premier League games. This is in 50 wins for the club. For the club, I think.
This is all competitions.
All competitions. So if you look at it, that's fascinating, isn't it?
50 wins across 94 games in all competitions.
George Graham was the quickest of any Arsenal manager to get to 50 wins, these stats I think obviously would have to be a certain level of games to sort of like, but I can't. I sent you this stat, and I can't remember if what it was the limit for to qualify for this segment. So,
right.
But to get to 50 wins in 94 games, I think only Graham's got there quicker. I think Arteta was helped by the fact that he had a great cup run and won the FA Cup.
Absolutely.
And also some of the Europa League games were probably against less than top opposition. But to get there quicker than his mentor, Arsene Wenger, and look at those names there, the greatest ever Arsenal managers.
Yeah.
Wenger, Chapman and Graham.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, context is key because, as you said, the Europa League, the FA Cup run. But I'd also argue that Arteta's playing in a harder Premier League than Arsene Wenger in his opening 98 games.
So look, we can contrast his poor record at the Emirates in Premier League games against the very good record as Arsenal manager and reaching 50 wins. So that's an interesting stat there, isn't it?
I think so. Let's go into more stats. We've got the match stats from the Villa win, 3-1.
Before I was going to just quickly say that going into this Villa game, James, that he had played Dean Smith, Aston Villa manager, 3 times.
Yes, of course.
And hadn't won a game. I think 3 losses, hadn't scored a goal.
Yeah.
I think they won 3-0 last year at the Emirates and 2 1-0 wins Villa.
Yeah.
So they won the last 3 against Arsenal. And he'd struggled against back 3 teams because, as we're going to talk about today, Villa are winning this game as a back 3 team. So his record against back 3 teams this season, played 3, lost 2, drew 1. But this was, for all that, the complete performance. I think the best performance under Arteta this season. Easily his best 45 minutes. And the stats reflect that, James, if you look at those numbers.
Yeah, 22 shots to their 10. Obviously, all 10 of those and their 4 shots on target came in the second half. 10 sounds like a lot of shots in one half, but in fairness, a lot of them speculative. Yeah, a couple caused us problems, but I felt largely untroubled for that second half. Obviously, we had more of the ball, we completed more passes, but the XG, now we're going to, at the end of the show, reel off a really interesting stat around XG, but we were definitely much more efficient with the positions we got into and the shots we were taking on goal and the problems we were causing them.
Absolutely. The XG in the first half alone was 2.45. We had 14 shots at goal in the first half, and they had 0. And we had nearly 60% possession. We were totally dominant in that first half, James.
We absolutely were. Let's take it straight to the lineup now. Here's the question, was it a 4-4-2? That's what a lot of people were debating. It's probably not important, but hey, you don't run a show called Tactical Insight and then not go into things like this. Lacazette, the key person here. We thought it might be a Aubameyang on the left with Smith Rowe in the middle. It wasn't. He went 4-4-2. It looks like anyway. Talk us through it from your perspective.
I thought that when I saw the teams when they come out, I thought with Tavares playing instead of Tierney, because Tierney and Odegaard were the big misses. Pepe obviously not in the 11 as well, but I think Odegaard and Tierney had knocks, so it forced his hand almost. Playing against a back 3 team, I think he struggled against back 3 teams, and what better way to occupy their 3 centre halves than playing your best 2 forwards in a 2? And they did play in a tandem. Whatever people think. And obviously I took a lot of stick on Twitter, and also I did my fan cam. I thought in the stadium watching it seemed like a 4-4-2. OK, hybrid 4-2-3-1 with Lacazette dropping back. But you could argue a 4-4-1-1, but for me, I thought it was a 4-4-2. It was like going back to old school. Friday was Arsene Wenger's 72nd birthday. How ironic that on his 72nd birthday, he chose that day to go back to probably the formation that brought Wenger his greatest successes as an Arsenal manager, with Bergkamp and Omri in a 2. And people didn't say then that Bergkamp was a number 10. He played as a 2. He dropped into the hole, but he played in a 4-4-2 with Pires and Lundberg on either side. And that's in effect what we got on this night with Smith Rowe and Saka out wide. It was a 4-4-2. I think Lacazette coming back added structure to the team, which was badly needed, energy and leadership qualities, and link-up play, and he performed a really good role, James, which we're going to talk about, the way he blocked off their ball progressor, Luiz, progressing to Buendia, who was anonymous in the game. I thought this was an old-school 4-4-2, hybrid 4-2-3-1, and I think Lacazette was key to the whole thing.
Well, there's a reason. It's no coincidence that, when I do these, I'm very intricate with where they're going to be. And there is a reason Lacazette is sitting, if I just get rid of that, why Lacazette is sitting slightly deeper, because I wasn't sure whether people were going to feel he was a number 10 or a false 9 or whatever it is. But he was crucial to this. One of the things you really wanted to talk about was Arsenal's aggression early on and their press and why he was key to that. Let's break it down, because we've done it off screen. Let's show the guys here. That back 5, or let's call it a back 3 of Villa's with the wing backs, you made the point that stopping the wing backs was crucial. How did we do it?
Yeah, I think you made a great point in one of the previous shows we did about when I said sometimes you match up back 3 teams, and I openly admit to you when we were talking, because we always talk, don't we, on WhatsApp. I said I'm worried about Villa in a back 3. I might match up tonight, and you said to me in one previous show, don't worry about what they do, it's what we do. How can we push back their wing backs? And I think he found a way to do this. I watched back the Chelsea game when the last back 3 team who came to the Emirates. And the way we struggle with an unorganised press, the way they play round their press. We know that Villa play a back 3. We know they like to play out and they like to use their wing backs. I think Villa have got a very narrow, compact team. Where Buendia, their summer signing, playing at 10. At Norwich, he played more drifting in from the right-hand side. But for Villa, he's a number 10. That means they ask a lot of their wing backs, Target and Cash, to get forward. And I think the key to stopping them is to stop their wing backs. Now, against Chelsea, we had a really unorganised press. He pressed in a 3. He literally pressed in a 3. The 3 front forward players pressed, but we didn't push up. And there was massive gaps between the way we were pressing at the top and pressing between the lines. It was all unorganised press. This was a definite organised press. We pressed with a 4. So what we had is, if you can show it with the formation now, what he asked was Aubameyang and Lacazette to press onto their centre halves.
Aubameyang on Tuanzebe and Lacazette on Mings. Is that
yeah,
fair?
yeah. And Lacazette performed a really good role in this game. He often drew Mings out of position, which helped. Saka would push on to target. You're showing there.
Yeah.
And then Smith Rowe will push on to Konsa, right? And then Tavares, his role was to literally push up towards Cash. So it is literally it's a four-front press, but Tavares would go to Cash if they look to go to Cash. And then we had our two midfield pivot of Partey and Lankonga pushing on to their two central midfield players.
Yeah.
And Tomiyasu would push slightly more forward to the halfway line there. And what I think the key was, what he was looking to do with now White and Gabriel 10 yards further up the pitch. We know the way Villa like to play out. I think they might be expecting Arsenal to press with the front three, not expecting a front four. But they, unlike Chelsea build up into centre midfield, then go out to their wing backs.
Right.
And when we played them, we just were not able to sort of like close the wing backs down, and they always had overloads with their wide players and their wing backs. This time we blocked off their wing backs, which was a big difference. And I think what Villa wanted to do was, if they couldn't play out through centre mid, they wanted to go out wide to the wing backs. And Martinez is a very good distributor, so it would go back to him, and maybe he would probably play over the press if he had the opportunity to the wing backs. We blocked off that option, so they couldn't play out. It was going back to Martinez, and he was going long, which is what Arsenal wanted, because Inks is a very small forward. Watkins up there with him. Gabriel and White literally took care of those all night. That was one of the reasons, a key reason, I think, that we got a foothold in the game, the intensity of our high press. We talked about passes per defensive action. Arsenal were the second worst in the league. We improved. We only allowed 10 passes per defensive action. That was an improvement of 5. We allowed 15 going into this game, only 10 in this game. The secret of the success to actually be able to play a game of football is not only to win your duels, but to be intense off the ball and aggressive off the ball. And we did that on Friday night, James.
Yeah, lovely stuff. I thought the press was massively improved. Lee Judge said in his fan cam that we were further forward than we were in the Palace game from our starting defensive line. I agree with all of that. You pointed out a player here that I thought was quite interesting, Nuno Tavares. We didn't know whether maybe Arsenal were going to flip their system a little bit to get him in as a wing-back. Actually, no, he played as a left-back, but obviously, as we've seen with Tierney over the years, he's given a lot of licence to get forward. I wanted to kind of get your opinions on kind of how he compared in that role. And we're not here to criticise Kieran Tierney. We know he's a fantastic player. And I think we all agree he's a future Arsenal captain. But Tavares was, I felt, played the role slightly differently. Let's break that down, because I know it's something you really want to talk about.
Yeah, I think sometimes injuries to players give opportunities to other players. And I think this was key. I think if we've talked about on this Tactical Insight show over the course of the season, the way Arsenal like to build up, it's a sort of a lopsided 3-2-5, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Tierney would always go up high. So Tierney.
Well, we've illustrated it here.
Yeah.
Tavares is where Tierney's natural starting position would be.
Yeah. So Tierney would come up. Well, Tavares, if he was playing the Tierney role, would be up there in a line of 5.
Yeah.
And I think Villa, if they're defending it with 5, would match us up there. I
Right.
think that they were probably thinking that Arsenal would build up in the way we normally build up in a 3-2-5.
Yeah.
With our 5 lanes at the top, it would be our left full-back high, which would be Tierney, but in this case it would be Tavares, and then it would be Smith Rowe inside, then it would be Aubameyang, Lacazette and Saka. It would be the 5, literally. And they'd have 5 to take care of it off the ball, wouldn't they? They'd have their wing-backs back in a 5 with their 3 centre-halves. But we built up differently in this game. We literally didn't build up in that way at all. And so the way we built up was, I would say, was more a 2-4-4.
Okay.
It was more
Let's illustrate it.
more of a balanced build-up, James.
So White and Gabriel, I imagine, are the 2.
Yeah, they're the 2.
Right, and you've obviously got Watkins there. So Tomiyasu comes forward.
Yeah.
Tavares with a deeper starting position.
Yeah.
And then we've got our front.
Yeah, and if you look at this, what I like about it immediately, it offers us something that the lopsided 3-2-5 doesn't. It offers us balance.
Yeah.
Literally offers us balance in that when we build up. It also gets the pivot there close together, Lankonga and Partey, and we got the width, with the fullbacks holding the width. And then we got Saka wide on the right, we've got Smith Rowe wide on the left, and then we got Aubameyang and Lacazette in a 2, tandem in a 2, occupying their 3 centre-halves. I like this shape immediately, and that's the way I thought we built up in the game, almost like a 2-4-4. It enabled us to play round their front players, play round their midfield. But what we did really well, I think, and this was key, was we literally, because we had the balance in the team, we were able to switch the play. Normally, it's always going down the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So what we did quite cleverly was, if we were on the right-hand side, we would draw Villa across to the right-hand side. And sometimes this is the benefit of having two fullbacks who are two-footed. I noticed in the game, I was literally level with it. There was a situation in the first half where Tomiyasu got the ball and he literally was being penned in onto his right foot. He doubled back, switched on his left foot and played a 30-yard diagonal, literally
No, you're right,
straight
actually.
across to Tavares on the other side. And Tavares, when he attacked, could come in on his right foot as well.
That's a really good
So
point.
the two fullbacks there who've got two-footed, can use left or right feet. Very key to the way we built up. And I think we did a lot. We got Villa literally across the pitch on the right and switched it. And then there was this great combination play between Lokonga, Tavares and Smith Rowe. And what I liked was, with Tavares, unlike Tierney, he would be up high, and that's what he was being asked to do, Tierney. What Tavares does really well is literally he sits. He sits on that halfway line. When we get the ball on the left-hand side and we progress it to Smith Rowe, and another key to performance was Smith Rowe being back in his favourite position on the left-hand side, Saka being back in his best position on the right-hand side. So he gave the players the best platform to be expressive and to make the most of the talents they had on Friday night, Arteta, and I hope he learnt something from this. But basically, whenever Smith Rowe came inside, that was Tavares' cue to actually then bomb on.
Yeah.
And what we did quite cleverly was we waited till Matty Cash was, if you push Matty Cash, if you can push him slightly up.
Yeah.
So by now, Matty Cash is sort of there, and Tavares would bomb past him. So Smith Rowe's with the ball now, driving inside. He would drive past Cash. Konsa's got to come across.
So as Smith Rowe has the ball, we'll just get rid of that. So as Smith Rowe has the ball,
Smith Rowe's got the ball
running.
now, so Cash is out the picture, and then he's got an option now. He can either drive inside, but then Tavares would literally bomb up onto that left-hand side, and he got into some great positions in the first half. Cut inside on his right foot, had a shot on one. He played an absolutely delicious, inviting pass across to Saka.
Yeah, he did.
Which happened just after, I think it was just before we scored, I could be wrong.
That came from a lovely inside, but Smith Rowe picked a lovely pass in between.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was centre-back and centre-back or full-back and centre-back, but Tavares just got on the end of it. It was a lovely little sweep across.
So it is an interesting contrast, right? Smith Rowe was playing on the right in the game against Palace, struggling with Pepe in that position, up high, because it's just too static positionally, and they weren't working as a duo.
Yeah.
But this, well, because the players are freer to express themselves and we're switching the ball cleverly, it's a more balanced build-up. You've got and the fullback's literally not up high already, he's making the run. It gives Smith Rowe the option to either come inside and create something or use him on the outside. And them two, Smith Rowe and Tavares, although they haven't played together before, I think this was I think they hadn't played together before. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly this is Tavares' first start. He literally had a great understanding with Smith Rowe throughout the game. They combined really well, and Lokonga as well was part of that tree on that left-hand side. That we literally in that first half created everything on that left-hand side, got into some great positions. But we also used the right-hand side as well. Saka offered us the balance on the right-hand side. Didn't have probably his best performance, but I think we were a better team with Saka on the right-hand side. So the key to me was Tavares getting up high. And I think the passing between them, 30 passes between them in the first half alone.
Right, there you go.
The highest stats, I mean, like 16... 30 passes between them in the game, sorry. I think it was 27 in the first half, 14 from Smith Rowe to Tavares and 13 the other way. That partnership was key, getting us into some great positions against Villa in the first half.
Completely agree. You said over some great numbers I'm going to pull up on screen, which is obviously the left-backs at the club. We've got Tierney's season average for touches in the final third, touches in the penalty box, shots, and obviously Tavares, just his raw numbers for his one performance against Aston Villa. Obviously, we know Villa are a good side, so he's put up some really good numbers there, Tavares. Numbers that are eclipsing Tierney's season's average.
Yeah.
One thing we say is obviously Arsenal were brilliant on the day, and we know Tierney's a fantastic player, and this is not us trying to diminish what Tierney's done, because he's going through not a bad patch, just he's not in the form he's been in of late.
I think he's been carrying an injury. I honestly believe
and
the fact that he was injured, I think he's got credit in the bank for me, Kieran Tierney.
Absolutely.
He's a great player, probably better defensively than Tavares. That's what I will say immediately. So this is not dissing him in any way. I think it's just interesting looking at his numbers. It is only one game for Tavares, of course, and Tierney played some of his early games against top opposition. So in Man City and Chelsea, for example. So look, the numbers are there. I think it was interesting. We talked about this when we did the Brighton Tactical Insight show.
Yeah.
When could we played differently today with Xhaka, because let's face it, Xhaka's not been in the team recently.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons why I think Lacazette played where he did, to offer more of a foothold in midfield. And could we get away from Tierney bombing up high if Xhaka's not over on that left-hand side to protect him? I'd rather use the Lokonga skills in a pivot, and that's what we did.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, the point is there's competition for places, and that's what we want. It's not to make the point, oh, Tavares must be better than Tierney now. It's not what we're saying, obviously, as you say, credit in the bank for Tierney. But the point is there's competition, and Tavares is fantastic. And congratulations on a great debut to Nuno Tavares. We get the goal that seals it off through, obviously, Smith Rowe. Now,
can we just talk about a goal very quickly before we go on to the Smith Rowe goal? Interesting that Thomas Partey stopped shooting and started trying to head the ball.
Yeah, now he's got into the box. He thought, I'm going to get a bit closer.
Because, and it was another goal from a corner.
Yeah.
The two goals against Palace came from set plays, second phase set plays. But this was a goal from a corner. Smith Rowe got the assist. And they did that quite a lot in the game. I think Partey was trying to get across his man at the front stick. And that's what happens in that goal. It goes in slightly off his shoulder. But I think we take that because we were worth it at the time. And that was a good start for us in 22 minutes. And then we started really playing well. The penalty towards the back end of the first half.
It's a penalty for me.
It's a penalty for me. And I think he goes through the back of him, gets his heel.
That's why. He gets the ball, but he's had to go through
He's going to get the ball, and that's a foul. And what I love, actually, was we criticised them for going to Stockley Park, and the guy not overruled in the Saka incident on Monday, when really McCarthy should have been sent off. I prefer this. I prefer to see the referee looking at a monitor. And we didn't do that last year. It was a pen, and he got the decision right. And interesting that Martinez, we know he's got a great record saving penalties. Aubameyang, good penalty, but a good save. But to see him put it in, to see Martinez on the floor,
followed up,
on the floor in agony, you know. It was what we deserved.
He was trying to wind our players
it's
up.
What we deserved. It was what we deserved. I've just seen Ty come into the side there.
So Ty's in
nice
the
to see you, Ty.
And he's having a good laugh because of the Martinez
it was a you know, we were worth a 2-goal lead at half time.
Absolutely, we were. I want to really talk about the Smith Rowe goal. We obviously saw the change with Lacazette coming. We thought maybe it's a 4-4-2. We saw that the left side of central midfielder, being Lokonga in this game, wasn't drifting into that left back space we've seen Xhaka do. But I still felt that despite these, I'm going to call them tweaks, I don't think it was exactly Arteta tearing up the process and the Arteta playbook. There were principles that he still took into this game. He tweaked things, but the concept of what he wants this team to do, I felt, remain the same, and I think there's evidence of it in this third goal. We saw Arsenal playing out the back, we saw Ramsdale's superb distribution, we saw all these things. Let's go through this goal here. There's Nuno Tavares, who, you know,
fizzes it into
absolutely fizzes it into Aubameyang, who's come short, and it's a lovely flick onto Smith Rowe, and Smith Rowe's running at goal, obviously takes the deflection off Mings, and in it goes. We've seen this before, and it wasn't that long ago.
The Tottenham game.
Here we are. Tottenham game. This time it's Kieran Tierney. Fizzes it into Aubameyang, who flicks into Smith Rowe. The only difference is Spurs actually defend the situation a little bit better.
Cutback.
And there's a cutback for Aubameyang.
Yeah.
It's worked on. It's a plan. You know, and actually Aubameyang coming short, I would expect a player to naturally do that. He's obviously been coached to do that. But it's actually Tavares and Tierney in situations where a fullback would just think, let me just curl it, you know, round and see if my left winger can get there, or if Aubameyang can run beyond. This was a pass into feet, and it's flicked on beyond. We've seen, I mean, a third one's just popped into my head, the FA Cup semi-final against City. Tierney flicks into Lacazette, and in this time, instead of, you know, looking for the run beyond, he's taken a touch and he switched it out to Pepe. So he's instructing these players how to, in tight positions, find a way to turn an awkward, dangerous press from the opposition into a counter-attacking opportunity, and we did so, and credit to Arteta for that.
Absolutely. I think that give praise to him. We criticise him for some of the structured approach. Maybe sometimes we think it's too positionally overdone, but you know, and we ask for players to play with more freedom. But clearly, as you said, this is coached, and this is we've demonstrated now we can, under Arteta, we are capable of scoring some good goals on counter-attacks. And I think this was a counter-attacking goal. And I think for Smith Rowe, I think this capped off a real fine performance, a man of the match performance. And I've said for a long time, I think if he can add goals to his game, I think we got a real serious talent. He is a talent anyway, but I'm just saying he could be a real serious talent, and I think he's got a career for England in the future. And I think that he just needs to add those goals to his game. He's better on the left-hand side, as we talked about. I think he can go both ways. He can come in, he can go outside. I love the way he runs with the ball. He's one of these players who can carry the ball. And I think, for me, that goal capped off a man of the match performance.
I completely agree. Now, we're coming towards the end of the show, so we're going to round off with a few stats, starting with Smith Rowe, who you mentioned there. Just a couple to throw out. 66 touches in the game, 4 out of his 6 duels he won. He created 4 chances and obviously got himself a goal and an assist. We made a graphic for Ben White because I think there's been unfair criticism around Ben White since he arrived. Some of his numbers were terrific. You sent me these as well.
Yeah, I think he offers us technical security at the back. Gabriel is the physical force. I think they're a wonderful partnership they're developing there. Lacazette was the technical security in the final third on Friday night, and I think Ben White was the technical security at the back. He had one absolutely amazing driving run from deep, and
we all enjoyed that. Yeah,
we talked about him in our preview show before the season start. We talked about this quality he had, where he could just see an opening and drive into a gap and go, and he did that really well. But he offers technical security, and also he made 2 key blocks in the game in the second half. He blocked 2 shots, one from Ince and one from Buendia, when threw his body on the line to get blocks in. So, but overall, technical security, 100% ground duels won, 100% aerial duels won, pass accuracy 94%. Another fine, polished performance from Ben White.
Absolutely, I thought he was terrific. And actually, I thought apart from the goal that Palace scored on the Monday night, I thought he was good that game. The problem is, we say
he just backed off.
It's the key moment, and that was a key moment where he was poor, but the rest of the game he was great. So I'm glad he had this Villa performance just to tell people, you know, take me serious. I'm a real defender. I think people look at him as just a guy who wants to be on the ball, but he can defend. And
well, that's the point, isn't he? He had the driving run, 2 great interceptions, and also he was pinging balls around again. And I think that Villa played into our hands a bit because we forced them to go long, and Ben White and Gabriel literally mopped up everything that they sent forward, and that was the key, I think, to progressing the ball from deep.
Now, you love to text me stats, and I've got a load of others here that we're just going to round off for. Just a quick fire. Arsenal had 9 shots on target. That's the second most ever in a Premier League game under Arteta. Arsenal's XG of 2.45 is the highest in the first half of any Premier League game this season. That was one that really stood out to you.
Yes, it was, man.
Arsenal had 14 shots in the first half, their highest in a Premier League game since December 2017 against Man United.
I was there for that.
I remember that. I couldn't believe we lost that game.
Yeah, we lost that game. Yeah.
I couldn't believe
David De Gea
was
He wasn't doing that yesterday, was he?
No, he was not. Very, very true. Arsenal faced 0 shots in the first half. The first time since Wenger's last home game at Arsenal that we've got a whole half without conceding a shot, or at least in the first half. Nuno Tavares ran further than any other player in the game, which is at 11.3 kilometres. Tavares and Smith Rowe exchanged passes 30 times, as you mentioned, the most of any player on the pitch. And I like this one. We had to get in a word for Aaron Ramsdale. 12 open play passes that resulted in unpressured Arsenal possession. His distribution was unbelievable. We could have done a whole show on it, but he was fantastic as well.
He was. His distribution absolutely key. I just think I'll be honest with you, I hold my hands up. I was not one who wanted him to come to the club.
Neither was I. Not for the price that was being thrown around.
And I've been proved wrong, because he's come in, and the thing I like about him, he's identified very quickly with the fans. And also I love his passion, and I love the way that when we conceded that late goal from Ramsey, he literally sort of like, he was so angry. His clean sheet had gone. He literally sort of like had a go at Partey and Lukonga, who were too casual. I think it was Partey, wasn't it? Too casual on the edge of the box. Yeah. And I love that, the way he doesn't want to concede a goal. I love the way he's bonded with those centre halves. Those 3 players, Gabriel, White, and Ramsdale. Literally, when they one of them makes a tackle or anything, they literally there fist pumping all the time. You can see, what it means, and I love his passion. And as I say, his ball distribution on Friday night was amazing.
I completely agree. Now, everyone, if you're watching this show and you're thinking, Why haven't you spoken about Thomas Partey? What, you know, obviously got his
First
goal.
half performance, he won all his tackles, all his duels, most recoveries. He had a goal.
He's got it all, Graham. It's all there.
He literally, he was, for me, he was our best player in the first half. But overall, I thought Smith Rowe was our best player.
I agree. We could have thrown an Aubameyang goal and assist as well. A lovely assist. That's Smith Rowe. You know,
so
Lokonga,
silky
terrific.
smooth, Lokonga.
Everyone was terrific. That's the point. It was a great Arsenal performance. Now, Mikel Arteta, is he going to stick with this? We've got Leeds coming up first, and then we'll see, obviously, what we're left with going ahead of coming into the Leicester game. Hopefully, we're into the next round. We beat Leeds, and then we'll obviously be back on Monday.
Yeah, I think that just rounding up quickly, the key to the performance, I think, was Arteta got all the players in their best positions that gave them the platform to play free and to the best of their ability. And this is food for thought for Mikel, I think, because I think over the last few weeks he's tried to get certain players into the team. To do that, for example, bringing Pepe back in on the right, he moved Saka to the left. Smith Rowe was being brilliant on the left, was moved over to the right, and it wasn't working, the combination with Pepe. When Xhaka went out of the team, he moved Lokonga over to the left to sort of fill in for what Xhaka did. That didn't work. So we see on Friday that not only was the balance of the team right, but the players were in their best positions, gave them the platform to be what they needed or could be, and to play with this freedom, because we got away from that 3-2-5 shape and moved to 2-4-4 in build-up. We had a balance across the team with a double pivot and the fullbacks. And also we had Saka and, as I say, Saka and Smith Rowe almost like wingers on the and the key to the whole thing really, Lacazette and Aubameyang close together in the two, but Lacazette dropping back deep to stop the progression of the ball from Luiz and to offer us that link in when we went forward. I think the whole thing was just a tactical masterclass from Arteta. He seemed to stumble on it. Where this leaves Odegaard in the team, I still think it's a 4-4-2. People say, you know, let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And of course, Odegaard could only play in a 4-4-2 if we played a diamond 4. We could play at the top of a diamond. But interesting now, I think Leicester, obviously Leeds game of the week, Leicester play a very similar system, James, to Aston Villa, and I think he should. These players, none of them deserve to be dropped, and I think I would like to see him play this same team on Saturday.
Yeah, let's hope he does. Let us know in the comment section what changed. How did we get this performance out of nowhere, it feels? Let us know in the comment section. Was it 4-4-2? Obviously, Graham's always in the comment section.
It's a 4-4-2, James.
Yeah, I think it's 4-4-2.
I'll settle for a 4-4-1-1.
All right, well, maybe we can negotiate on that. Guys, like and subscribe. As always, we'll be back next Monday to break down, hopefully, another win. But Leicester are looking good. Let's see. See you next time.